As I recall, this guy won't listen to reason and can only be persuaded with intimidation. But he does seem to follow rules to some extent. Let's use that against him.
Speaking of regulations, we have our own laws and regulations too. According to Article 4 of the Cienjo Alliance IPC Trade Consensus, the Alliance and IPC shall never infringe on each other's intellectual property rights.
Back in Aurum Alley, you were dealing with civilian merchants where you could use the IPC's name to scare them. But this time, the Cloud Knight Lieutenant standing before you represents the will of Lawfu's general and won't be intimidated by your words.
Of course. I'm sure we both want a peaceful resolution.
Yeah, that's true. Of course, I want things to be resolved peacefully, but aren't we getting stuck in rigid formalities here? Even if we set aside the secrecy of intellectual property, these prototypes built by the Intelligentsia Guild are incredibly valuable, beyond your wildest imagination. If anything goes wrong, you won't be able to pay for it even with your lives.
Don't underestimate Cienjo technology. Even if they need to dismantle your cargo, the Artisanship Commission can easily put it back together.
Yeah, go ahead and brag about their skills. After all, you're just a negotiator they hired. But I'm different. I'm an IPC member, and my fleet has accepted this transportation order. Naturally, I need to be responsible for the integrity of every piece of cargo. Besides, the cargo on this transport vessel belongs to the Intelligentsia Guild. If you want to inspect the cargo, shouldn't you at least call in a member of the Intelligentsia Guild to be present?
You're pulling out all the stops, and you've even dragged members of the Intelligentsia Guild into this. Seems like you're not interested in resolving this at all. Since we've met each other before, Mr. Scott, let me share some information. Your transport ship was attacked by the Borisin, and the Cloud Knights might see it as more than just a random attack.
You think you can scare me with that? What exactly do you mean?
Sure, you might purely be innocent victims of a Borisin attack. But think about it another way. Why would the Borisin launch such an attack near the Lawfu? Perhaps some of your crew members colluded with them. We may need to interrogate every one of your crew to eliminate this potential risk.
You know what? I don't think we really need a member from the Intelligentsia Guild present. I'm just hoping that all the procedures will be thoroughly followed, you know? We both need to follow the regulations, because that's how the IPC and the Cienjo operate, right? As an IPC worker, I have to abide by its regulations. If I make an exception and allow you to inspect the cargo, it'll spell disaster for me.
I understand that you're trying to stick to the IPC regulations, and that's commendable, Mr. Scott. But what you fail to see is that this argument is tarnishing the IPC's reputation on the Cienjo. If this conflict with the Skyfaring Commission escalates, it won't just make things difficult for your business, but it'll also have an impact on your career down the line.
Of course, I never wanted conflict with the Cienjo. Like I said, all I wanted was to retrieve the cargo and be done with it, but they just refused to let us go. Well, you guys sure know how to argue your case.